Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimiraandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Vidapatakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Rugnatam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvedam Savadudam Parjana Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Ladita Shivishakam Vidam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhya Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Bhadekam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhudare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nidhinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gauravaknanda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narayanam Namastutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lange Degirim Yatkrapatam Ham Mande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram Yolda Pravishya Mama Vachamimam Prasuktam Sanjeeva Yati Akila Shakti Tarasadanamnam Anyam cha hastat charana shravanatvagadin pranam namo bhagavate pushaya tubhyam jayadam surador pangor mama mandamadir gadi masarvasya padam pujo radha madana mohanu paramananda pathaya prema varshi aksharaya de sarvada sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya namostume Tamadidevam Karunanidhanam Tamalavarnam Suhidavataram Apara Samsara Samudra Sedam Vajamaye Bhagavata Surupam Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Hare Krishna Hari Om Tat Sat. So welcome all the devotees for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, first verse purport. First verse we already taken last week. So today we'll be reading the purport of the first verse of first canto, first chapter. Okay, Hare Krishna. So before that, we'll just once again recite the first verse, then we'll start the purport. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadiyasya yatonvayadidaras Chate Shabhijnaswarat Tene Brahmarudaya Adikavaye Muhyandi Yasuraya Tejo Varimridam Yada Binimayo Yatra Tri Sargo Mrisha Dhamna Swena Sada Nirasta Kuhagam Satyam Param Dhimahi. Okay. Obeisances unto the personality of God at Vasudeva directly indicate Lord Sri Krishna, who is the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. How Lord Krishna got the name Vasudeva? Because he is a son of Vasudeva and Devaki. That is how he is called Vasudeva. This fact will be more explicitly explained in the text of this work. Sri Vyasadeva asserts herein that Sri Krishna is the Sri Vyasadeva asserts herein that Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead and all others are his direct or indirect plenary portions or portions of the portion. Ete cha amsha kala pumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Okay. Ete cha amsha kala pumsa. That is direct or indirect plenary portions or portions of the portions. Okay. But Krishna is the original source of all this. Srila Jiva Goswami has even more explicitly explained the subject matter in his Krishna Sandarbha. Srila Jiva Goswami is one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, who are the followers and disciples of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Srila Jiva Goswami has composed 400,000 plus verses, nearly 500,000 verses in Sanskrit. Okay, no one on this earth planet has done that much, that many slokas, that many composition. Nobody knows about that. We know of Mahabharata, which Srila Vyasadeva has composed or compiled. That is 100,000 verse. Okay, but here Srila Jiva Goswami has compiled 400,000 plus verses, nearly 500,000 verses. So out of that, there are Shad Sandarbhas, the 6 Sandarbhas. So this is explicitly mentioned or explained in Krishna Sandarbha about the different expansions and portions of the portions of Sri Krishna. And Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all these expansions and portions of the portions. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning here. And Brahma, the original living being, has explained the subject of Sri Krishna substantially in his treatise named Brahma Samhita. We all know, we have many times read Brahma Samhita also, especially when we are doing Abhisheka for the deities. We recite this Brahma Samhita, which is spoken by Lord Brahma himself about the position of the Supreme Personality of God Krishna and is spiritual about Goloka Vrindavana. So in an Upanishad, in the Samaveda, it's also stated that Lord Sri Krishna is the divine son of Devaki. So not only in Srimad Bhagavatam it is mentioned, but in Upanishad is also mentioned that it is a part of the Samaveda. Okay, in that particular Upanishad also it is mentioned that Lord Sri Krishna is the divine son of Devaki. Okay, so therefore in his prayer the first proposition holds that Lord Sri Krishna is the primary Lord, and if any transcendental nomenclature is to be understood as belonging to the absolute personality of God, it must be the name indicated by the word Krishna, which means all attractive. So the word Krishna derived from Sri Krishna, that is Krishna Akrishna idi Krishna. Akrishna idi Krishna. Okay, so that person who attracts everyone because of his 6 opulences in full, in complete, he is called Krishna. Only he can be called Krishna. The person who has all the opulences in full, 100%, can attract everybody. Now, one opulence, some people may get attracted. 2 opulence, some more people. But when you have all the 6 opulences in full, all people of different walks of life gets attracted, because some may like a person with a lot of wealth. So those people will get attracted. Some people may like the beauty. So such people will get attracted. Some strength, some name, fame, like that. But the person who has all the 6 opulences in full, everyone gets attracted to. That is Krishna. Krishna idi Krishna. So Krishna is all attractive. That's why he is called all attractive, because he is possessing all the 6 opulences in full. In Bhagavad Gita, in many places, the Lord asserts himself to be the original personality of Godhead, and this is confirmed by Arjuna and also by great sages like Narada, Vyasa, and many others. Can anyone say which is the sloka from Bhagavad Gita that confirms this? No, that points out to this statement that in many places the Lord asserts himself to be the original personality of Godhead, and this is confirmed by Arjuna. Also by great sages like Narada, Vyasa, and many others, which is that sloka from Bhagavad Gita, which we usually quote also. Anyone remembers? It's a very famous sloka. No one remembers? You all know it.
It's like Prabhu Devlo Vyas.
Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashadam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum, Ahastam Rishaye Sarve,
Devarshi Naradastata.
Nardastada, Ashito Devalo Vyaso, Swayam Chaiva Pravishime. So this is the sloka. Okay, that's it is quoted here by Prabhupada. And this is confirmed by Arjuna and also by the great sages like Narada, Vyasa, and many others. In the Padma Purana, it is also stated that out of the innumerable names of the Lord, the name of Krishna is the principal one. So Krishna is the principal name for Supreme Personality of God. Although he has got millions and millions of names, but Krishna is the original name. Okay. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Who is glorifying with this sloka?
Kunti Maharani.
Yes, Kunti Maharani. Okay. So Vasudeva indicates the plenary portion of the personality of Godhead. How? Can anyone say? And all the different forms of the Lord being indicated with Vasudeva are indicated in this text. So Vasudeva indicates what? The plenary portion. How Vasudeva is a plenary portion of Krishna? How can you substantiate that? Can anyone say? You all know it. You all know. Who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What's his name?
Krishna.
Krishna. And from whom? Who expands? Balram. And from Lord Balram, Chadurvyuha expands. Who are the Chadurvyuha? Shankarshna, Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. So that is that Vasudeva. Okay, that is the Vasudeva. So the name Vasudeva particularly indicates the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. So here it is mentioned, no, Vasudeva indicates the plenary portion of the personality of Godhead. So in the Chadurvyuha, that Vasudeva comes. So Sri Krishna is always meditated upon by the Paramahamsas, who are the perfected ones among those in the renounced order of life. So what is the meaning of Paramahamsa? What is the speciality of Hans?
Prabhuji, Nirchi Vivek, they have that. They only drink milk, not water.
Even if it is mixed with water and other substances, takes only the good part of it, the essence of it. So the Paramahamsas are such personalities, saintly personalities, who takes only the good. Even though they are living this material world full of miseries and full of so many anarthas, but they take only the essence, the good part of it. They are called Paramahamsas, who are the perfected ones among those in the renounced order of life. So in the renounced order of life, there are different gradations. Okay, different graded. So Paramahamsas are the topmost. So all these Babajis of Vrindavan, Goswamis, they're all on the level of Paramahamsas. Okay? Although they are not in the saffron dress, they are not sannyasis. They are called usually Babajis, because those days the sannyasa is not that much not that much prevalent. Only from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj onwards, it has become some, especially in the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Till that time, all those saintly personalities were wearing the white loin cloth. They're all called Paramahamsas, even better than the sannyasi cadre. So who are the perfected ones among those in the sannyasis also renounced order? Okay, so these Paramahamsas are even above, even though they may not wear the attire of a sannyasi, they are in loin clothes, white loin clothes, but they are Paramahamsas, even higher than the renounced sannyasis. So Vasudeva or Lord Sri Krishna is the cause of all causes. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam is the cause of all causes. If there is a causes for that cause, can he be called Krishna, God? No. He is the origin, he is the beginningless. Okay. Anadir, Adir. Anadir means no Adi, no beginning, beginningless. If there is beginning, there is an end also. Then how can we say that he is eternal? If there is a beginning, there is an end, then he cannot be eternal. So he is beginningless and at the same time he is original. Everything that exists emanates from the Lord, which is that sloka in Bhagavad Gita. Everything that exists emanates from the Lord. You all know. Only things we have to just say. What is that sloka? Everything that exists emanates from the Lord. The Chaturshloki. Just think. The Chaturshloki first sloka. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartyade.
इति मत्वा भजन्ते मां मुदा भाव समन्वितः.
Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Everything exists emanates from me. Aham from me. Sarvasya prabhava emanates. Okay. So how this is so explained in later chapters of this work. This work is described by Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya as the spotless Purana because it contains the transcendental narration of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. So why this Bhagavata is called as spotless Purana? Can anyone explain? Why not any other scriptures? Why not any other Puranas or Upanishads or Vedas? This is known as spotless Purana. Why? Yes, Paramananda Purushottam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, because all other scriptures all talks about dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and this Purana speaks about only the Krishna Bhakti, the prema of the Lord. So that's why it is Amala. Purana is not attached to get anything else other than the pure devotion of the God.
Very bold, very good. And plus more, I want more points to be added to this. Very nice answer. More.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Because in this scripture only Leelas of Bhagwan is discussed only.
Okay.
That's why it is more important.
Yes, very good. But why it is spotless Purana? Yes, what Paramananda Purushottam Prabhu has said. You have said the same thing. Yes, it is all about the Leelas of the Supreme Lord. But then some more to add.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
It is about the Bhagwan devotees also. It is
Okay.
about.
Very bold. More points. Very nice. And who else said? Kapil Prabhu?
Trigunatit Prabhu, Trigunatit.
Vivek Prabhu. Yeah, I didn't get you. What is that?
Trigunat means it is not related to gunas.
Yes, that is one good point. This Triguna Atit. Triguna Atit means transcendental. That's why it is used as contains a transcendental narration. What is a transcendental narration means? Triguna Atit. Beyond the three modes of material nature. Not in Sattva-guna, Raja-guna, nor in Tamo-guna. So, in which guna it is?
Shuddha Sattvic.
Yeah, Shuddha Sattvic. So that's why it is called as spotless Purana, Amala Purana. Right? See, the Vedas are compared to a tree. In the tree, there are different parts. Just like root is there, the trunk is there, the branches are there, The twigs are there, leaves are there, flowers are there, and the fruits are there. If you taste any of this part of the tree, do you get the same taste? Do you? Which
No, Prabhu.
tastes the best? Which tastes the best?
Fruit.
Fruit. So in Vedas, in Vedic scriptures, there are 4 Vedas. Okay. Under the 8 Upanishads, Vedanta Sutras, and 18 major Puranas, 18 minor Puranas, Ananikas, Samhitas, Itihasas, and everything is there. Everything is called Vedas. So if you read any of these scriptures, do you get the same taste as the mango? Some taste like leaves, some flowers, some branches, some twigs, some roots. If you bite that, you don't get the same taste. So Vedas means good, bad, and ugly, everything is there. According to the level of the consciousness of the person, in different modes like Sattva, Rajas, and Tamo, different teachings are given by Vyasadeva, according to the level of understanding and consciousness of the person, seeker, so that he or she can slowly and gradually come to the topmost level of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Vyasadeva is catering to the needs of all people from different walks of lives. Okay. In the school, the curriculum is prepared according to the level of understanding of the students. The first standard student cannot be taught the subject matters of the 10th standard student, isn't it? Similarly, Vyasadeva knows very well that Kanishtadhigaris cannot be taught the subject matter of the Uttamadhigaris. So there should be, different syllabus, different curriculum. So those who want material benefits, those who want some comforts, some entertainment, okay, he has given that also. But it doesn't mean that you have to stop there. You have to grow. Don't stay in first standard only. You have to study, come to the second standard, third standard, like that. You have to go higher in the ladder. So that's why different works are given by Vyasadeva. So the essence of all the Vedas is given in Brahma Sutra or Vedanta Sutra. What is the meaning of Sutra? Anyone knows? Vedanta Sutra. We always talk about Sutra. Vedanta Sutra. What is the meaning of that?
Explanation.
Theory, Prabhuji. Theory.
Yes, it's a theory, it's a formula, it's a code. In our computer language also there is a code, in code language you write. It's essence, condensed. Tattvamasi, aham brahmasmi. Okay, these are all theories, these are all formulas. Okay, these are all formulas. So this needs to be decoded. We cannot decode that. Only saintly personalities, acharyas can decode and tell us what exactly. Tattvamasi, some people will decode it as, I am that supreme. Okay, is it right? No, I am not that supreme. I am that part of that supreme. I am also Brahman, but not Parabrahman. I am having the same quality of that same supreme, but not in quantity. Just like a drop of water in the ocean, it has the same properties of the whole ocean, but in quantity it lacks. Isn't it? So these are all given in the Vedanta Sutra in aphorisms or in codes or in sutras. So only a saintly personality can tell us exactly what it means. So for us, in the people in the age of Kali, it is not possible for us to comprehend this, to understand this. First of all, we don't know the language Sanskrit. Even if you study, one will not become expert in that. You need at least a thorough study of Sanskrit language for 12 years to become, somewhat perfect. Who can do that? And it's a vast body of literatures, Vedas. So one lifetime is not enough for us to understand the Vedanta Sura. So finally, Vyasadeva, at the instruction of Narada Maharshi, his own spiritual master, when he got dejected and when we got despondent, he was asked to write this spotless Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very glorious because, as Vivek Prabhu rightly said, it is above the three modes of material nature. It is in the Suddha Sattvic platform. It's called transcendental, and that gives us Krishna Prema. That only gives us the Panchama Purushartha. And as Parag Prabhu rightly said, all other Vedic literatures gives us only Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. That is the Purusharthas. Okay. Why we are following Dharma? To get Artha. Why we need Artha? To fulfill our desires. Then when we are tired of, getting kicked from left, right, and center by this material nature, by Maya Devi, then we try for moksha. But moksha is not the end of it. Moksha is the beginning of it. Moksha is not the end of it. Moksha is the beginning. Why? Because only on that transcendental platform can we try to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotional service. So that is when we can serve the Supreme Lord in the pure mode of goodness. So our goal is to attain Krishna Prema. That is the ultimate parodharma of the human being. So it was compiled by Sri Vyasadeva after he had attained maturity in transcendent knowledge. He wrote this under the instructions of Sri Naradaji, his spiritual master. Vyasadeva compiled all Vedic literatures containing the 4 divisions of Vedas, the Vedanta Sutras or Brahma Sutras, the Puranas, the Mahabharatas, and so on. But nevertheless, he was not satisfied. He was totally despondent, totally dejected. His dissatisfaction was observed by his spiritual master, and thus Narada advised him to write on the transcendental activities of Lord Sri Krishna. So when he was totally dejected and despondent, Narada Maharshi was passing by. He observed Vyasadeva in that condition. So he inquired. Then Vyasadeva explained to him that even though I have compiled so many Vedic literatures, I am not satisfied. What is the cause of this? I don't know. So, oh my dear Gurudev, please explain to me, please guide me how I can come out of this. So Narada Muni immediately told him, condemned all his work, which he has done before, because it is not serving the ultimate purpose of the human life. Okay, it is serving. Something is better than nothing, definitely. But why is despondent? Then he's telling because you have not adequately glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his Leelas, and his devotees. That is why you are not satisfied at heart. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yado bhakti radhokshaje ahaituki apratihada eyatma suprasidati. This is what it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam. Yayatma suprasidati. Now, if you want contentment at heart, we should do parodharma. And what sort of parodharma? Pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adokshaja. And how it should be performed? Ahaituki, without any motivation, without any expectation. Apratihada, continuously, without any interval. That alone can satisfy the soul. So, his dissatisfaction was observed by his spiritual master, and thus Narada advised him to write on the transcendental activities of Lord Sri Krishna. These transcendental activities are described specifically in the 10th canto of this book. Why? Because these are the Leelas of Lord Sri Krishna in the 10th canto. So these are the transcendental activities of Supreme Lord Krishna, especially the childhood Leelas. But in order to reach to the very substance, one must proceed gradually by developing knowledge of the categories. So one should not jump into the 10th canto and start reading that. Before that, we should have that unflinching faith that Supreme Lord is Krishna only, no one else. So we have to develop that faith. Then only you will be able to comprehend and understand and fathom the greatness of that Supreme Lord Krishna. So then you will be eligible to read the 10th canto in the right perspective. So it is natural that a philosophical mind wants to know about the origin of the creation. At night, he sees the stars in the sky and he naturally speculates about their inhabitants. Such inquiries are natural for man because man has a developed consciousness which is higher than that of the animals. So we know that we being the human being, we have the developed consciousness, we have higher reasoning power, higher intelligence, okay, and higher memory power. Everything is there in comparison with other living entities. So only we can inquire. The animals cannot inquire, the aquatics cannot inquire, the trees and plants cannot inquire. If there are some problems, will the animals call for a meeting to sort out the problem? They will not, they cannot. They don't have the viveka buddhi that the human being has. So only the human being can inquire. Who are we? Why we are here in the first place? Why some are enjoying like anything, some are undergoing a lot of miseries. What is the destination, where we are coming from? Who is God? How we can attain him? So all these questions can be raised only by the human beings, because we are higher than the other species. So the author of Srimad Bhagavatam gives a direct answer to such inquiries. So Vyasadeva gives direct answer to our questions. He says, the Lord Sri Krishna is the origin of all creation. Okay? He is not only the creator of the universe, but the destroyer as well. The manifested cosmic nature is created at a certain period by the will of the Lord. It is maintained for some time and it is annihilated by his will. Can anyone say the sloka from Bhagavad Gita which represents this statement? The manifested cosmic nature is created at a certain period by the will of the Lord. It is maintained for some time and it is annihilated by his will. You can't remember? Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam edu nanena kaunteya jagad viparivartati. Okay. So you have to brush up every day. Okay. You all know it. It's not that you don't know. Only thing is you have to get the answer right on time. So annihilated by his will. Therefore, the supreme will is behind all cosmic activities. Directly or indirectly, he is managing the whole drama or show. Of course, there are atheists of various categories who do not believe in a creator, but that is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Okay. There are also non-believers. That is because of poor fund of knowledge. They are not properly educated in this field. That's the reason. The modern scientist, for example, has created space satellites. And by some arrangement or other, these satellites are thrown into outer space to fly for some time at the control of the scientist who is far away. Similarly, all the universes with innumerable stars and planets are controlled by the intelligence of the personality body. So mechanically, some of the scientists are inventing so many machineries and Sputniks and whatnot, so that it can be left or launched in the space for various communication, other purposes. Who is controlling? The scientists are controlling from here, isn't it? Similarly, the Supreme Lord is controlling all the planetary system in this material world. He is controlling. So is it difficult for us to understand? Without any controller, can this, all these planets stay in orbit without collision? It's not possible. Just from a seed, it sprouts, becomes a plant, then it becomes tree, then it gives flowers and fruits. So everything is automatically taking place. No creator, no engineer. There is some person responsible for all these things. Nothing comes automatically. We cannot think, oh, everything has come automatically. No, it is not possible. So if there is a creation, there should be a creator behind it. So in Vedic literatures, it is said that the absolute truth, personality of Godhead, is the chief amongst all living personalities. What is the slogan for this? It's not from Bhagavad Gita. But there is a quote in Bhagavad Gita. In Vedic literatures, it is said that the absolute truth, personality of Godhead, is the chief amongst all living personalities. Anyone remember? What is that sloka? Chaitanas Chaitananam. What is the first? I'll tell you. Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. Okay? Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. So this is from Kathopanishad. So who is the chief amongst all living personalities? Nityo Nityanam. Chaitanas Chaitananam. He is the Supreme Lord Krishna. All living beings, beginning from the first created being Brahma, down to the smallest ant, are individual living beings. Irrespective of what body we have. Okay? We are all living beings. We are all sentient beings with consciousness. We are not dull matter, just like stone or rock or something like that. No? We have consciousness. That's why we are all living beings. There are chara achara, moving and non-moving also. They're all living. Trees are non-moving, but they are living beings. They don't walk from one place to another place, just like we do, but they are living. They are called achara. We are chara because we can move. We are mobile. So, and above Brahma, there are even other living beings with individual capacities. And the personality of God, it is also a similar living being. So, just like us, he is also a person. So, what's the difference? He is a supreme person. That's only different. And we are persons. But the Supreme Lord or the Supreme Living Being has the greatest intelligence. And he possesses supermost inconceivable energies of all different varieties. If a man's brain can produce a space satellite, one can very easily imagine how brains higher than man can produce similarly wonderful things which are far superior. See, now the scientists, the experts, especially in the IT industry, small chips, how much gigabyte, or I don't know what is the language they're using, how much data can be, stored in that? How much data? But here in our this brain or in the mind, how much data can be stored? Can you imagine that? The scientists can't even fathom that. This mind is storing so much data from so many of our lifetimes. Okay, it is there in the subconscious mind. It will surface at times. It is there as impressions. And that mind, the scientists cannot figure out where it is. The scientists cannot touch and show this is the mind. Yes, Kabir Prabhu, can you please tell me?
Yeah, actually, recently, son and myself, we had this discussion, that we are talking about, okay, this whatever USB or maximum now, this hard disk comes of little terabyte, now gigabyte to terabyte.
Okay.
Then he searched on internet, so like in the brain, how much storage actually. So it was something like petabyte, and it is, now human or we haven't even heard about it. So like millions of gigabyte, 2.5 million gigabyte, I think 2.5 petabyte or something. So it is a huge capacity. Beyond now, whatever science has progressed, it is much beyond that.
Yeah. So that's why I told you our mind has storage capacities of so many billions of lifetimes impressions. Not one or two. We were cats and dogs, we were trees, we were reptiles, we were birds, we were worms, many million times. So all those impressions are there in our minds. And we don't know in future how many more lives we are going to take. So the plannings are also there. Past, present, and future, everything is there. See, we plan also for future, no? That is also stored. Not only what has happened, but what we foresee. What we are planning. Okay, I'm going to be a millionaire. This is a plan. Okay, I'm going to be a millionaire. Not now, in future. I will do so and so thing so that I'll become a millionaire. And this is also stored in the mind. And that when time comes, when conducive atmosphere comes, I will also become millionaire. So the future planning is also there, stored in the mind. So if you see the invention of the scientists, it is negligible. It's just negligible. You cannot compare at all. So that is the God's creation. Why we got this ability or this intelligence? Because the Lord also has this intelligence. We are part and parcel of that Supreme Lord. So we have the intelligence in minute quantity. It is not surprising. Just like the son automatically gets the hereditary power from the father. Whatever the father has, the son also has. Isn't it? Son has the father has so much wealth. So the son also gets it from the father, but not the complete wealth, because he has got so many sons, so many children. So it will be distributed. Similarly, the Lord has given, being his part and parcel, Mamai Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Okay. We're all, his children. We've got little independent. We have got little whatever he has. All that opulences that he has, all that ability that he has, all the Aishwarya he has, we also got in little quantity from him. So that's why scientists could, invent all these things, because this strength is the ability, this knowledge, everything comes from the Supreme Lord. He possesses supermost inconceivable energies of all different varieties. If a man's brain can produce a space satellite, one can very easily imagine how brains higher than man can produce similarly wonderful things, which are far superior. The reasonable person will easily accept this argument, but there are stubborn atheists who would never agree. So the non-believers will never agree to it because they cannot comprehend this. How is it possible? Srila Vyasadeva, however, at once accepts the Supreme Intelligence as the Parameshwara. Parameshwara means Param Ishwar, the Supreme Lord. He offers his respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Intelligence addressed as the Para or the Parama Ishwara or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that Parameshwara is Sri Krishna as admitted in Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures delivered by Srila Vyasadeva and specifically in the Srimad Bhagavatam. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord says that there is no other Paratattva Samam Bonam than himself, which is a sloga. Each and every sentence that Prabhupada writes here, it is linked to some sloga of the scriptures. In Bhagavad Gita, sloga is there. Okay. That the Lord says that there is no other Paratattva Samam Bonam than himself. Very famous sloga. Mata Paradaram Nanyat Kinchidashti Dhananjaya Mayi Sarvam Idam Proktam Sutre Mani Ganaiva. Mata Paradaram Na Anyat. There is no truth beyond me. Lord Krishna says, no. Kinchidashti Dhananjaya. Oh Dhananjaya, oh Arjuna. There is no superior truth than me. Everything is resting upon me, just like the beads are strung on a necklace. That the underlying thread is me only. It is not visible. No, when there is a necklace, now we all have the Kantimala. Can you see the nylon thread which is underneath? But it's there. That is Lord Krishna, who is not visible to us with our naked eyes. So Paratattva, Samam Bonam. Okay, therefore Sri Vyasadeva at once worships the Paratattva. Sri Krishna, whose transcendental activities are described in the 10th canto. So unscrupulous persons go immediately to the 10th canto and especially to the 5 chapters which describe the Lord's Rasa dance. Rasa Panchamadhyaya. Okay, so Prabhupada is warning here that one should not jump into the 10th canto, especially the Rasa Panchamadhyaya, the 5 chapters which describes the Rasa Leela of Supreme Lord Krishna with his pure devotees Gopikas. That is very dangerous. Is warning us. Why? We are not matured enough to understand these Leelas in the right perspectives. Unless and until systematically study Srimad Bhagavatam from 1st canto till 10th canto, understand the greatness of the Supreme Lord and his position as the Supreme Lord, we should not jump into this 10th canto. That's why Prabhupada and Vyasadeva is warning us. Why? This portion of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the most confidential part of this great literature. Most confidential. Ordinary people will not be able to accept it, take it, understand it. Unless one is thoroughly accomplished in the transcendental knowledge of the Lord, one is sure to misunderstand the Lord's worshipable transcendental pastimes called Rasa dance and his love affairs with the gopis. If you are not transcendently situated, it is very difficult. We will misinterpret. We'll take it all these Leelas cheaply. So this subject matter is highly spiritual, and only the liberated persons who have gradually attained to the stage of Paramahamsa can transcendently relish this rasa dance. These are all spiritual activities. One should not take this as a mundane loving affairs between boy and girl. So that is why we are all being warned here. Srila Vyasadeva therefore gives the reader the chance to gradually develop spiritual realization before actually relishing the essence of the pastimes of Lord. Vyasadeva could have put this 10th chapter in the 1st canto, the 10th canto in the 1st canto, isn't it? But why did he kept it in the middle? almost not middle exactly, after 9 cantos, 10th canto. Why? Because by the time one studies scrutinizingly that 9 cantos, Srimad Bhagavatam is matured enough to understand who Krishna is. His position. He is not a person like us. He is Supreme Lord, transcendently situated. These are all spiritual activities. That's why he has kept it in, on 10th canto. Therefore, he purposely invokes a Gayatri mantra, Dhimahi. Satyam Param Dhimahi. This is part of Gayatri mantra. Now let me meditate upon this supreme absolute truth, Dhimahi. This Gayatri mantra is meant for spiritually advanced people. When one is successful in chanting the Gayatri mantra, he can enter into the transcendental position of the Lord. One must therefore acquire Brahmanical qualities or be perfectly situated in the quality of goodness in order to chant the Gayatri mantra successfully and then attain to the stage of transcendently realizing the Lord, His name, His fame, His qualities, and so on. Nama Rupa Guna Leela. First, understand His name, His fame, His qualities, and so on. One should situate himself in a transcendental position, at least to start with, in the mode of goodness. Then slowly he can rise to the pure mode of goodness. So this is a quality to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. But nevertheless, even though we may not be on that platform, we should start studying this under the guidance of senior devotees. We should listen every day Srila Prabhupada's lecture. We should listen every day, or Guru Maharaj or senior Vaishnava's lecture, so that our contaminations gets purified, and we'll be able to understand the things in the right perspective. No, we should not think that I'm not perfect, I'm not purified, I don't have the ability or eligibility to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, so I will not read. No. We should start reading. We should chant every day. Chanting will purify. So by taking up the process of chanting Hare Krishna Mantra, by following in the footsteps of previous Acharya, senior devotees, we get the qualification to study Srimad Bhagavatam. So one should not think that I'm not qualified, so I will not read. No, that is not an excuse. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the narration of the Swarupa of the Lord manifested by his internal potency. We'll just read this para and then stop. And this potency is distinguished from the external potency which has manifested the cosmic world, which is within our experience. We have the experience of this material universe, material realm. That too, very, very little knowledge. What we don't know even the complete knowledge of this Earth planet. So what to speak of other planets? And what to speak of the millions and billions of universes, material universes? We don't know. So the spiritual experience is totally, beyond our understanding, beyond. So to get a glimpse of that, we need to study the scriptures under the guidance of the spiritual master and other devotees. Srila Vyasadeva makes a clear distinction between the two in this sloka. Sri Vyasadeva says herein that the manifested internal potency is real, whereas the external manifested energy in the form of the material existence only temporary and illusory. So in this sloka, Vyasadeva makes a distinction about the real world and the temporary world. Which is the real world? The spiritual world. And this is a reflection, perverted reflection of that real world, which is real, but it's temporary. Okay? So this is also real. It's not that we are dreaming now. You are real, I am real. I am reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we are listening, we are discussing. It's all real. But what is the difference? This is temporary, that is eternal. So this distinction is making here, who Vyasdeva in this. The manifested cosmic creation appears as reality, but reality of which this is but a shadow. Just like a shadow. Shadow has no reality. No? Does the shadow has reality? No. Similarly, this material world is also doesn't have a permanent position. That's why it is called a slight shadow. So in the material sky, everything is relative truth. That is to say, one truth depends on something else. So what's the difference between absolute truth and relative truth? Can anyone say? What's the difference between absolute truth and relative truth? Any idea?
Relative truth is based on absolute truth. If absolute truth is not there, relative truth cannot come in. Like the person is not there, shadow will not be there. So became a shadow, the person is needed. So absolute truth is truth.
Okay. So exactly Prabhupada says here, the relative truth depends on something else. It doesn't have its own existence. It has to depend on something else. And relative truth changes. How? For example, Para Prabhu likes Rasgulla very much. Okay? That's truth. But does it apply to me? Does it apply to me that Parag Prabhu likes Rasgulla very much, but I don't like that Rasgulla. I like Gulab Jam. So it's a relative truth, isn't it? Eh? So it depends on something else, some other person. So it is relative. Relative to Parag Prabhu only, that liking, that happiness. When he eats Rasgulla, he feels very happy. But when I eat Rasgulla, I don't feel happy because I don't like it. So it's relative. But in the spiritual world, serving Krishna, okay, participating in Krishna's Leela, everyone likes because it's absolute and we are part of that absolute truth. Okay, so there is no relativity there. Everything is absolute truth there. There is no relativity. Here it is relative. That's why it said it depends on something else. Relative truth depends on something else. It doesn't have the individual existence depending on something or some person. So the cosmic creation results from interaction of the three modes of nature, and the temporary manifestations are so created as to present an illusion of reality to the bewildered mind of the conditioned soul, who appears in so many species of life, including the higher demigods like Brahma, Indra, Chandra, and so on. In actuality, there is no reality in the manifested world. There appears to be reality, however, because of the true reality which exists in the spiritual world, where the personality of God eternally exists with its transcendental paraphernalia. So I'll stop here. So next week we have to start from here. You can also mark, I also marked here in case it goes from,
Yes, Prabhu.
from this
Noted.
part, the chief engineer. So we'll stop sharing, stop recording. Hare Krishna.